You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
Welcome. You are listening to watching the Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. Well, hey, you're definitely going to want to hear from my next guest. He is the tax man's worst nightmare, Craig Weir. Craig, financial guru, sought-after speaker, best-selling author of two books. One is Paying the Piper. The other is Roth Conversion Secrets. And if you have a large balance in your IRA account, then Craig is the person you want to hear from, that you want to talk to. Hey, Craig, you got a lot of experience here, a lot of good advice. And first, how did you get into this whole little specialty of retirement investing?
Oh man, I tell you, Kerry, first of all, thanks for having me on. You know, sometimes life just happens, right? So 13, 14 years ago, I was doing a live talk radio show down in Houston and been on the air for several years. And the guy sets an appointment and he walked in the door, and I like to call him Mr. Leonard, just to protect his privacy. But he just said, you know, Craig, I've been listening to you for a long time now on the radio. And he said, I just think you're missing the point on one issue. And I was like, okay, that's normally not the type of compliment you hear, right? He said, look, I retired when I was 60 years old from a major oil company. I had about $1 million in my IRA at the time, in my 401k. He said, I just turned 70 and a half. That million has grown into 2 million. I still don't need the money. And I just had to take my first required distribution. It was about $80,000. He said, I don't need $80,000. I said, well, man, that's kind of the deal you made with the IRS. It's the way the deal works. He said, yeah, I get that. But now my CPA tells me that now all my Social Security, or most of my Social Security, can be taxed. And now he said, look forward to a big Medicare increase because now my Medicare premium is going up. I said, well, yeah, that kind of happens. He said, well, I've done my own math. I think there's a better way to do this. I think I need to really begin converting this big IRA of mine to a Roth IRA. I said, well, and I gave him the typical advice that you hear out in the financial industry and most CPAs give. He said, well, I get that. He said, you're the third person I've talked to. He said, but I think there's a better way. Anyway, long story short, that pushed me into a corner, and he said, look, you go figure this out. And I watched him write a check to the IRS for a great big old check. He did not do what I suggested he do. He just decided he wanted to get it all paid and done all in one fell swoop, which is, for the record, not the best way to do it at all. But that's how I got into it. And then I took that and I just started applying to all the other lives that had invited us in to help them with their retirement. And I'll be darned if that didn't develop into software that didn't even more prove the point that people really need to be getting a real aggressive on what they're doing in the Roth conversion. That's how we got started.
Right. So just going over this, if you have a large sum in your IRA, you convert to a Roth, which you can do at any time. You're going to get a big tax bill because all of that income that's been sheltered from taxes all these years is going to become taxable in the year that you convert it. Do I have that right?
Absolutely. That's exactly right. And what people shy away from is paying that tax. What they don't realize, unsuspecting, is if they kick the can down the road and they just wait, they'll end up paying 3 to 4 times more tax over their lifetime than if they take control of when they want to do it under their terms and their conditions and best for them, as opposed to just the IRS tables.
So this is a case of timing, like everything else, is key in life, right? So when do you convert? When is most advantageous? I mean, it's kind of self-evident, at least to some extent, that you convert when, or do partial conversions, I guess. You don't have to convert it all at once, but you do it when your income is lowest, right?
No, that is what is in the normal media that we hear. That's what CPAs will tell you. That's what most financial advisors are taught. But actually, the facts are that you have to get to a higher tax bracket than probably what you're comfortable with. have to convert it over a shorter period of time than you probably are comfortable with, and in much greater dollar amounts than you're probably comfortable with in order to get the real tax benefits. If you just stick, and I write about it in Roth Conversion Secrets, a book that I wrote, there's really 5 mistakes people make. And one of the mistakes is they stop converting at the top of their current tax bracket. That makes total logical sense. Unfortunately, the math doesn't support it. So you have to get to a higher bracket. You have to throw caution into the wind when you're thinking about Social Security Medicare thresholds. If you stay below Social Security Medicare thresholds in order to avoid paying a little bit higher Medicare, you're only going to subject yourself to higher Medicare premiums for the rest of your life once RMDs start. So you have to get beyond those paradigms. You have to convert now. You have to convert faster than you think, but there is an optimal way that, a lot of people who really get almost evangelical about this think, well, if a little bit is good, then I'll just do it all at once. And that doesn't accomplish really one of the primary objectives of conversions. That is, how do you do it in an optimal way so that you keep your net worth as high as you possibly can? So the goal isn't just, how do I avoid paying taxes? It's, how do I avoid paying taxes and keep my net worth where it was to start with? That makes it sing. That makes the game plan really sweet.
All right. So there's a strategy involved here that involves a lot of math, huh?
The math isn't hard. You just have to be able to coordinate a lot of moving pieces. When do you take Social Security if you're going to start doing conversions? How does it change your lifestyle? Where do you start pulling money from? Where do I worry about Social Security benefits? How does it fit into my charitable giving game plan? What do I want to do for my kids? So it's not complicated math. It's just a lot of pieces, Kerry.
Mm-hmm. All right. So about Social Security, obviously your health, your situation, your financial situation, all those things matter, right? So everybody's going to be different there.
Don't just survive, thrive. The Financial Survival Network.
GoldTerra Resource Corp is a gold exploration company that has assembled a highly prospective district-scale land position on the doorstep of the city of Yellowknife in Canada's Northwest Territories. GoldTerra is currently focused on expanding and delineating gold resources at the company's Yellowknife City Gold Project with a goal of discovering over 5 million ounces. With ready access to infrastructure and multiple high-grade gold discoveries, GoldTerra is on track to reestablishing Yellowknife as one of the premier gold mining districts in Canada. GoldTerra trades as YGT in Toronto and YGTFF on the OTC. For more information, go to goldterracorp.com. That's goldterracorp.com.
This is the Financial Survival Network. The information you need to thrive now more than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's different. And, I can say that if you're what I call an IRA millionaire, hands down, you need to get into an accelerated Roth conversion strategy. If you don't have $1 million in there, let's say if you're at 600,000 or 700,000 in your 401k, then you probably aren't going to benefit as much from doing accelerated conversions, because at the heart of this whole issue is the required minimum distributions are what cause the problem. They begin this domino of really bad things and expensive things that happen once you start having to take those. So the objective of Roth conversions is to find the sweet spot of how much you need to convert, how quickly you need to convert it, and over what period of time and what tax brackets really work the best for you. So, and it is very unique. It is very personalized, like you said, because your cash flow, your age, your needs, what you want for your family, all those things kind of play into it, Kerry.
Yeah, so there's not one size fits all for this at all.
I wish there was, man. I'd have a little app on the internet, charge $9 and get rich.
All right, so you got to take all these factors into consideration. Using your strategy, how much do you wind up saving in taxes?
Our average IRA millionaire, so they got over $1 million. Our average savings for our clients is $3.2 million they will save combined over their lifetime and for their heirs. And that's either a 50-50 or a 70-30 split, depending on how old they are for their kids. So they're saving $3.2 million in taxes. They're going to save between $80,000 and $150,000 in Medicare premiums. by doing conversions. So you accelerate getting the Medicare premiums out of the way so that for the rest of your life, you just back down to the minimum Medicare premium part. And of course, everybody's different. I mean, we've had people who save $20 million, but the average that we're seeing is around $3 million if you do it right.
Wow. So definitely worth doing, huh?
I would say so, unless $3 million is no big deal. It's a big deal to me
out there, but most of us, $3 million is still an extraordinary lot of money here. And so how do you get started? How do you do this?
There's just a lot to it. A lot of people start off with the DIY spreadsheets, and if you have a good understanding of how all those components work together and you're really good at that, you can probably get close. I think it takes somebody who really specializes in it, to make it work. The second book that I wrote gives a lot of detail of kind of the mechanics of what goes into it. I still think it takes, a chef to make it all work out just right. And we're a little bit prejudiced in that, we offer a service where we do this for people, but you don't have to have us. If you're really good at spreadsheets and you have a really good financial acumen, you can figure it out yourself.
Right. So I was going to ask you, the obvious question is, if it can be done, how come it's not understood out there how to do it?
Man, I've talked to a ton of CPAs and a whole lot of financial advisors, and you and I could do an hour-long program on this, but the short answer is CPAs, and I got the same CPA I've had for over 35 years. I love the guy. He's great for what he does for me, but he's not my financial planner. He's not a tax planning guy. He's rewarded by saving me taxes and keeping me out of jail and from paying penalties, right? Mm-hmm. So to turn to them and ask them for this kind of input, I think is a little bit unfair because it's really not what they do. Financial advisors, I've been in that world for 38 years. I've been around all those tables, all those industries. Financial advisors really well. Their compliance departments, for the most part, won't allow them to get into this element. And they're so busy in their day gathering assets and taking care of clients that they just don't. They're like I was 15 years ago when Mr. Leonard walked into my office. I was so busy with the day-to-day that I never really took the time to step back and do the calculations, right? And so those are those are kind of the easy boilerplate answers. There's this chasm in the industry where we got all these people that we're hoping are going to give us advice in every area. And the reality is it takes a specialist. You go to your doctor when you're sick, and if you got something really that's beyond what they really focus on, who does he send you to? He sends you to a specialist, doesn't he? And so that's kind of the role that the firm that we've developed nationwide, that's really our role is. We're not better than anybody else. We don't know more than the CPA. I'm not any brighter than anybody else out there. We just have really focused in on this one area, and that's kind of where the books came from, and the service that we offer comes from is just how do you make sure that you really get it right? Because the difference between doing a good job with Roth conversions and the best job is easily over $1 million in savings.
Wow. Hey, look, if you're in that situation, you're sitting on a 7-figure or more IRA, then Craig is the person you got to speak with. Craig, where do we find you? How do we connect with you on the web? I know you have a podcast like us. Tell us.
Yeah, so the easy part is, let me just, for those that are really interested in the subject, let's just, maybe you can put in your show notes, let's just have them go to get a free download of the book, info.craigweir.com/FSN, right? Financial Survival Network, the FSN. That's a way to get a free book. You can get to learn a lot of stuff. You can connect with us that way, or just go to craigweir.com and you can connect with a lot of resources that way. You can find the podcast there and be able to help them in a variety of different areas. We got a lot of free resources out there on the website that they can just get access to. Not everybody wants to work with somebody like us, but for those that want to get it right, we think that's what we do.
Well, excellent. Really appreciate you coming on. That's very enlightening. Hey, if you got a question for Craig or myself, the email is kl@kerrylutz.com. You'll find the link to Craig's site in the show notes to this interview on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Make sure you subscribe to your free newsletter. Craig, really fascinating. We'll look forward to speaking with you again, and good luck.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Kerry. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.